On behalf of your host, Steve D, this is Bruce Buffer saying thank you for tuning in to Xtreme Lyfe. And now, this is the moment Xtreme Lyfe fans around the world have been waiting for. It's time!
Hey everybody, welcome to Xtreme Lyfe. This is Xtreme Lyfe episode 70. With me today on this episode, Sammy Smith. I mean, what an impressive person, inspiration. I mean, just a lot of, I could go on and on. I mean, you're a seven-time Diamond ring winner. I can't talk today, at Diamond Nationals. I mean, you're multiple championships. I mean, I could look at your bio and it just goes on and on and on. So, you know, and you're the queen of the nunchucks. You're queen of chucks, right? I mean, that's I think that's the first video I saw of you posted by my friend Tony Ricci, who you're working with. We can go into too, because he's one of the most biggest brains in body mechanics and you know, physiology that I could think of. But the first video I saw was amazing. I mean, and I'm going to put some of it up over here when we, you know, so people could see it. But it was a video of you with two nunchucks, just going crazy. I mean, had all kind. I mean, the moves were just insane. You're flipping, you're doing this. I mean, you know, how does somebody get there? Where does this journey start for you?
Oh man. Well, my martial arts journey started when I was actually 3 years old. I saw a Gap commercial on television, and it was this little kid. They were doing kicks and what looked like acrobatics, I guess, to 3-year-old Sammy. And apparently, I don't even remember this, honestly. Apparently, I was like drawn to the TV every single time the commercial would come on. And finally, my mom and my parents just, you know, wanted to sign me up in martial arts. But the place where they wanted to take me, you had to be 4 years old. So I had to wait a whole year pretty much. And then, you know, finally when that day came, walked into the studio, and actually, the day I started, it was September 10th, 2001. So kind of the day before, you know, a very tragic, historical event. But ever since that day, I've literally been hooked onto martial arts. And, you know, if we fast forward a little bit, you know, I'm sure we'll talk about my competing career, but
absolutely,
I ended up getting on this team, and the team was called Team Pro Rank. And actually, one of the kids who was on that team was one of the boys from the Gap commercial.
Oh, really?
So that's great. Teammates. So everything kind of came like full circle. So I like to think that I have a pretty interesting, story how I got, into martial arts.
Oh yeah. I mean, 4 years old, right? 4-year-old Sammy Smith goes into her first karate studio. And was that Tae Kwon Do? Was that a Tae Kwon Do studio? Or?
That was actually a Kenpo Karate studio.
Kenpo, okay.
The style is a mix of Japanese and Chinese Kenpo.
Okay. All right. So because you have, I think you're a triple black belt in Tae Kwon Do, right?
Yeah. I have a third degree black belt in Tae Kwon Do, and then a regular, just, it's technically a junior black belt, but there was a lot that went into that curriculum. So it was a regular black belt in just Kenpo.
That's all, just a regular black belt.
The curriculum was very extensive. So even for a junior black belt, it would be like the equivalent to like a third or fourth degree in, some other art, I would like to think.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, every art has its own thing. Like I know certain arts, you go through belts really quickly. They got like 12 belts that you go through. Other ones have like 5, so it takes a long time to get through. I know jujitsu, it's only like 5 belts. Right. So, in that martial art, so it takes a really long time to get to like, the next belt, so a blue belt in jujitsu could be like equivalent to, a higher belt in another art, just because you've been doing so much work to get there. So when did you realize that this was like, a career for you? Because it is a career for you. I mean, it's not something you kind of do part-time, it's like, this is your life, right? So when did you realize that?
It's like really hard to tell because martial arts has always been like my passion, and it's something that I do for fun, and it's something that makes me like honestly like feel alive. And I got like known for, as my years went on competing and I started winning, I started getting more recognized by people. And I actually started teaching at the school that I started at. It's Bustos Martial Arts in Plainview, New York.
Okay.
And I started teaching there. So I guess that was like my first like career moment with karate, but it was just for fun. And it was just, something to do, like, it didn't feel like a job. And then, like I said, as I got more well-known in the sport, I actually, started working at another karate school, and I developed a competition team, and I had students of my own that would travel to these tournaments with me. So I guess you could say that's kind of where I got the ball rolling with my students. And then now, even to this day, I teach Skype lessons I have students in all different states, all over the country. I've even taught internationally before through Skype. So that's the cool thing with internet. You can have students in, different parts of the world and still be able to teach them. So, I guess it was to answer your question in short, probably around 9 years old when I started teaching at that karate school. But
so you were 9. So you were 9.
Yeah.
At a karate school.
Pretty
and probably
much.
Teaching maybe adults, right?
Definitely people older than me for sure. I've taught seminars and there's been like adults there too, which is kind of, weird but cool at the same time.
It's right. It's got to be a little bit surreal, like strange. Like, is this really happening? Like, is this going on?
Yeah, exactly. And in the future, I would like to own my own martial arts studio and incorporate strength and conditioning, kind of like into like one big training facility.
Yeah. And that's a great idea. I mean, a lot of people, it's one of the ideas, one of the ideas I've had along the way has been, coming up with, when I first came up with Xtreme Lyfe, I envisioned these Xtreme Lyfe centers where people could learn all kinds of things, physical fitness, mental fitness, just kind of like training centers to make people better at whatever it is they want to do. Right. So do like strength and conditioning and everything, mental health, physical health, all of it, all kind of lumped into one thing. Cause I'm a big body, mind, and spirit guy. I don't think you can have, if any one of those things is failing in some way, you are not going to do well. Okay, right.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So you gotta have it all, right? And that's, I think you must keep that in check. I mean, you've been on the cover of, or not, I don't know if you've been on the cover, but you've been in Black Belt magazine, right? You've been on Kung Fu magazine, right? Was that another one? I was reading a whole bunch of, prepping for this interview, I'm reading a whole bunch. I'm like, Jesus, this girl has done so much and you're so young. Right, you got a long way to go.
I honestly don't remember like everything, but going back to your first thing about the Black Belt magazine, yes, actually, just recently there's this tournament called the U.S. Open, and it's the biggest tournament of the year for our circuit under NASKA. And they had this special edition Black Belt magazine, and me, along with, some of my other teammates, we were on the cover of the Black Belt magazine. So that's like really cool because that's like awesome. Every martial arts dream to be on the cover of like Black Belt magazine.
Yes, it is.
And like, I actually, I always want to help the sport out. So I developed this curriculum, and it's an online sport karate curriculum called Sport Karate University. And it's basically like a college for people who want to, learn sport karate, building from like the super fundamentals all the way up to like the advanced movements. So me and my teammate, Jackson Rudolph, we became co-founders of the program. And that's actually a program that's under Black Belt Magazine. And Black Belt Magazine is kind of century martial arts, kind of newest product, and what they're, they kind of took over Black Belt Magazine. So it's really cool to be involved, just with Black Belt Magazine. Not to mention, I also write some fitness and exercise articles for Black Belt Magazine too. So it's really cool to kind of, have an in with such an awesome martial arts company.
Yeah, and that's great because, like I said, I remember Black Belt Magazine. They've been around a long time, and I'm old. So I'm going to tell you, I'm 48. I remember Black Belt Magazine when I was a kid, like the paper magazine. I don't even know if it's
in the bookstores.
Like on the magazine shelf at like Quick Check or whatever, 7-Eleven, whatever was going on back then. I don't even know if Quick Check was around when I was that young. But the thing is they had the magazine rack, and I remember seeing Black Belt Magazine always had like Bruce Lee on it or somebody like that, and to be on that with that lineup of people and then be in with that magazine, the editor, I guess, of the magazine to kind of help you out. And that sounds really cool, right? Like sport karate. Can you explain what sport karate is? Because I don't know that a whole lot of people might know what sport karate might be.
Yeah. So sport karate, or also known as extreme martial arts, is a combination of kind of the gymnastics moves that you would see, a gymnast doing, but they have like a little bit more of an element of martial arts. And martial arts are, karate combined into one. So when you're going to any of these tournaments, you'll see people flipping, people using weapons while flipping. There's musical divisions, extreme divisions, creative divisions. They all each have different rules to them. But yeah, basically sport karate is just the combination of gymnastics and martial arts. And then also in our sport karate tournaments, there's point fighting. And, Stephen Thompson, who's an MMA fighter, UFC fighter.
Yep. Wonder Boy.
He has Wonder Boy. Yeah, he has like a point fighter type of style. Because I do believe he did some sport karate tournaments.
Well, he's a Tae Kwon Do guy too.
Yeah. So sport karate, has the sparring element too, but I don't fight. I don't do that stuff. I just focus on the performance. So that's the forms and the weapons.
Okay. Yeah. And that was going to be another question I had was, have you ever had any thoughts? Because you're training, I've seen you train at Law MMA. So the question I had was, first thing I said was, wow, that's insane. Because the body mechanics that you have is just unbelievable. And I'm sure that's what cues Tony in as well, is just the movement, of the momentum, the way you use it is just phenomenal. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm very impressed. That's when I reached out to Tony. I said, I got to get her on. So, but, have you ever thought, since you're in that gym, have you ever had that? Has it ever even flipped a little bit in your head? Do I want to get in the cage?
I like to keep my face in one, piece. So I would have to say no.
Okay.
However, when I was learning when I was training under my Tae Kwon Do instructor, Eric San Jose, who works at Law, we would always do boxing drills, and he would hold the paddles for me, and I would hit those and bob and weave all the, just the hooks and the rights and the jabs and everything like that. So, and I loved that. That was super cool. So I enjoyed that, but I don't think I could ever go into an MMA ring. But it's cool being surrounded by those guys. Don't get me wrong.
You got some.
You'll just be working out and you look to the right and Aljamain Sterling is just in the ring doing wrestling or sparring or, something like that. And then when Chris used to live in New York, it was really cool to just be in the gym and he just, shows up and it's just like a normal day. So,
or Matt Serra walks in, or
everybody. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy over there. I've been there a few times and I've been on one day where it's they had 3 former champs in the gym at the same time. Just all train, just doing stuff, not all training, but they were all there. And it was just
awesome. Yeah.
And I'm sitting there working with Jenny Nadell going, I'm super intimidated right now because I look like an idiot. And
the energy in there is just something you can't describe. I love it. It's just like a raw energy. And, that just really gets me in the zone when I'm training with Tony.
Yeah. And Tony, what's that like? Tony's, I keep saying to Tony, I got to come up there and train with him every once in a while because him and I kind of, talk here and there. And he's been on the show a couple of times, and I've been up there, but I've been up there working on other things and never had a really opportunity to do any strength and conditioning stuff with Tony. But what's it like training with Tony Ricci? He's, like I said, probably the biggest brain I know when it comes to sports physiology and just he just knows a lot of shit.
For sure. Actually, I trained with Tony earlier this morning, so I actually just saw him. But
did you tell him you're coming on today?
I did. And, I did. Yeah. I actually met him a few years ago when Law had their anniversary party. I did. I want to say it was back in 2017. I did a small demo for the people that were there, and that's when I first met him. And I was kind of seeing him around the gym, saw him working out with other people. By that time, I was just starting my college at Hofstra University. I actually went to school for exercise science. Mm-hmm. So the whole strength and conditioning aspect was kind of new to me. I wasn't really so deeply involved with it yet. But actually this past year, I decided to go to graduate school, and Tony actually ended up being my professor for all my classes at LA.
There you go.
Online. So we just kind of started talking then, like, you know, I kind of knew that he would always like kind of make mention of law and relate it back to like fighters and like, for an example, during like our classes. So I would stay after a bunch of times after, because we had online classes. So it'd be like Zoom like this.
Yeah.
I would always ask him questions after the class ended. And he just invited me to just come to law one day and train. And then when I got there, I had just found out, because we weren't sure if our circuit was going to happen this year with the tournaments. And like I was talking about the US Open, which is the biggest tournament of the year. We weren't sure if it was going to happen yet, but I had just gotten news that it was going to happen. And
that was the 4th of July, right? Was that 4th of July?
That was the tournament for the 4th of July. Yeah, that weekend.
Yeah.
So we had like 5-ish weeks, and he put together this training program for me. It was really awesome. And it had like all these different stages to it. It's crazy because like you learn about this stuff in school, but being able to like have it happen to you and like he took a body fat percentage for me, and we watched, like, as the weeks went on, we watched it decrease, and I could just see like my musculature like changing basically overnight with his training. So that was like really cool. But yeah, training with him was awesome. He's super smart. He's like a genius, like exactly what you said and everything. Like some of the stuff that he says goes way over my head.
Yep.
But obviously I trust him, and you know, I have so much to be thankful for with him, and I really appreciate all the training that he does with me. And you could see that he's like really into it. He's said like multiple
times. He loves it.
Through his Instagram that he's never, you know, kind of worked with an athlete in this sport before. So it's kind of cool being like a guinea pig and him like, you know, testing out some training modalities with me. And it's been working, you know, my jumps have increased. I'm faster, I'm stronger. So it's just super cool to train with him. And the fact that he's also my professor is really cool too.
Yeah, no, that's amazing because you have probably, you know, you have a lot of the greatest coaches available to you in the sport, right? You know, and I say in the sport, not necessarily sport specific to you, but sport of mixed martial arts, karate. I mean, you got basically everything right there. I mean, and then, you know, the physiology end of it, and then just the mere fact that, you know, Tony's just he's like a super genius with this stuff, right? He figures it out. And he could not only tell you to do something, but he could tell you exactly why you're doing it and what's happening in your body as you're doing it.
Exactly.
And then what's going to happen.
You could see like when we're working together and I like say something like a feedback, he's like thinking in his head, like what that can mean. And then like, I don't know, it's just so cool. And it's like how dedicated he is to like my success is just really awesome. I can't thank him enough.
Yeah. And you can pass this, you know, I mean, this is something you're learning from him, not only there, but in school. So, you know, I'm sure you take that into your students as well, right? Everything, because that's everything I learn, I take to wherever I am and put that out there as well. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's just kind of passing the information along and, you know, using that same strategies with people you're working with. So you're doing the online classes, right? You have the online school, the college that you put together. And that's, you know, focused mainly on sport karate, correct? Yeah.
Right. Yes.
So, you know, so does that mean like somebody like me, I could sign up, right? I could sign up and then start learning to do what you do?
Yes. So the program,
I would break my neck.
No, because it doesn't start like super advanced right away. It literally is made for if you didn't know what martial arts is, you can purchase the program. There's like different, like if you want to learn just nunchucks, you can do that too. If you want to learn just bow staff, you can do that too. Or open forms or tricking, which is the acrobatics that in martial art, in sport karate, we call the acrobatics, like the gymnastics, we call that tricking. Okay. So if you want to learn just tricking, you could do that too. Or if you want to learn everything, you can purchase like the whole bundle and learn that. But basically, no matter what program, or we call them majors, right? Because it's like a college. Yeah. Whichever major you choose, it starts from super basic, as if you don't have an idea about karate, and it just builds up over these video modules.
Okay, no, that sounds great. So how long do you think it would take me to be able to do some of the stuff you're doing? Like a couple weeks, No, I'm just kidding. Just
It depends on the moves. It depends on the moves. Some things you'll be able to pick up right away, but backflips and stuff like that, yeah, it's going to take some time.
That won't be a couple weeks. That'll be a while longer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of figured. But no, that's amazing. That's great that you're carrying that out to people around, around the world, and I think that's one of the things that came out of, COVID's a horrible thing. It really screwed up the whole planet for a while, made a lot of uncertainty. But one of the things I think that came out of this that's going to be good is the fact that it kind of pushed our technology along at it kind of gave us a boost, right? It kind of said, here, now you have to use this technology. And I think, you're going to see more and more people working from home. You're going to see a lot more. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the world, and more education online. That's just going to be available to people everywhere, where you don't actually have to physically go to a physical building somewhere,
right.
Which I think is good and bad in some ways. I mean, for me to, I like to be somewhere sometimes, but it's also good to be able to do a combination, right? So you can get a lot of information and you go put it in practice somewhere, right? Or whatever. I mean, however you're going to work it out. But no, it's a great thing that you're doing. Because of all the kind of acrobatic work and stuff like that, have you ever been approached? And I just want to ask, because you're very well known in sport karate. Have you ever been approached to do any kind of movie stunt work or anything like that? Because what you did, that was when I first saw it, I was like, this reminds me of something I saw in like one of those Kill Bill movies or something like that, right? Because it's like you really kind of, it's like you're defying gravity in a lot of ways, and that's a lot of what you see in that. So I'm assuming they hire somebody like you to go in and do that.
A lot of the people that actually compete on the NASKA circuit go out and they do stunts. A lot of, like, my instructor, Matt Emick, he is a stunt performer in California right now. He actually was in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie and a whole bunch of other, stuff that I can't, off the top of my head, but he's in there. One of my other instructors, Caitlin Deshelle, she was the stunt double for Wonder Woman. So there's a lot of people that come out and move to California and do the stunt work. As far as like myself goes, when I was little, I did like a few commercials like here and there. And then not too long ago, a few years ago, I did just a small part for the Defenders. It's a Marvel series on Netflix. Okay. I got my arm like just chopped off and I was just laying there, it was like one of the ninjas. So just like a small thing like that. Okay. But honestly, one of my goals, I'm not too big into stunts because, that really requires you to be like fully into that, like, live in California. That's what you do. Yep. And I wanted to go to school and make sure I have like that career. So no matter what, I always have that to kind of fall back on. Mm-hmm. But as far as stunts go, Cobra Kai is something that I would definitely want to do. Okay. That's like the one thing I would, for sure. You ask me 100%, I'll go and do that. I don't know if you've watched the series, but it's so good. I pretty much watched the third season in like one day.
Did they do a third season already? I'm like behind. Yeah, I saw the second season and I didn't see the third one.
They're on the fourth one, and one of the characters needs like a little backup, and it would be cool if they had a girl with Chuck. So,
all right.
Who sees this about Cobra Kai? I'll definitely, they need a Chuck girl, and I'm the Chuck girl.
We'll push this out to Hollywood so they can check it out, and if someone sees it, maybe they'll be like, all right, you're good to go. But yeah, no, that'd be cool. I mean, that's kind of what I thought of. I'm like, there's a lot of possibilities here with the, your skill set has a lot of different possibilities, especially like, not just, because you're on the circuit now. What does the future look like for you? What do you see yourself doing, 5-10 years down the road? Where do you see Sammy Smith at that point?
10 years is a little far, but
it's 5 years. Let's just say 5.
5 years. I would like to have my own martial art, like what we talked about earlier with like the training facility, at least the martial arts school. The end goal is to have like strength and conditioning, like a turf and machines and kind of like what law looks like. And then another side to have like a karate, matted floor. Like that's the end goal, but at least have a martial arts school, a successful martial arts school. Still keep my name relevant in the NASKA circuit. I'm still competing. I'm still going to be competing for a while. But yeah, like this was like my 17th US Open that I just went to. I've been competing since 2004 in NASKA and then like 2002 locally. So I've been competing for a really long time. But I just would love to stay relevant in the sport karate world and open up my own martial arts studio and see where else life takes me.
That's it. Sometimes you just got to see where it goes. And you know, it sounds like it's going well for you. I mean, I'm looking at your championships right now, and, you know, it goes back to 2006. You started winning championships. So.
Yeah, that's when I moved into the black belt division in NASKA. So yeah, I actually started competing as an underbelt. So when I was competing, I was not even a black belt yet.
Wow. That's impressive. That's impressive. What is one thing that inspires you? What inspires you the most to keep moving and keep going? Because it takes a tremendous amount of work. There's a saying, hard work pays off. And you know, you have to, you know, you don't develop the skill you have by being lazy or not, or saying, hey, I want to take some days off or whatever. That takes a hell of a lot of work ethic. What keeps you going? What makes you do that?
The fact that, because when you're at the top, everyone wants to just like take your place there. Mm-hmm. That's what motivates me, because I would like to say that I'm one of the best competitors. Obviously there's people who are, you know, on the same level or above, but like I would say I'm one of the best, especially for females. Mm-hmm. So I just don't want anyone to take my place. So that's what motivates me to keep training every single day.
Yeah. Well, someone told me once, it was a champion who told me this once. He said, it's easy to get the championship. It's a lot harder to hang on to it.
Yes, that's very true.
A lot harder to hang on to. And you see that in MMA all the time, because there's very rarely is there someone who hangs on to a belt for more than a year or two or three, you know, maybe 3 years. Let's say 3 years. That's kind of like the, you know, how long people a lot of times will hang on to a belt. And then you got the anomalies like John Jones, who hangs on to a belt for 10 years, you know, but you know, that's a rarity, you know, so it's a lot harder to hang on to it. Right. So you're at the top of your game right now. You want them and what inspires you and what keeps you going is you want to stay at the top of your game. You want to stay sharp, which is, and it sounds like you're not just doing that. You're finding new ways to do that, right? You're working with Tony now. You're developing other strength and conditioning modules for yourself. Yeah. You know, and that's one of the things I always kind of say is, you know, even with the MMA guys, it's, you know, and I'm a big strength and conditioning guy. I train constantly. I'm always training. And, you know, I used to tell people all the time, runners, for some reason, they don't like to lift weights. I'm like, they just want to run. I'm like, yeah, but if you train and strengthen yourself, you won't break that bone next time you hit that rock, you know, but you know, so strength and conditioning is so important. It sounds like it's really something that's coming together for you as well.
Right. Yeah. Strength and conditioning has been like a major component to my training. Not so much like the weights as till recently. Mostly throughout my years of training, it's kind of just been like calisthenic body, you know, work stuff, mm-hmm. You know, handstand, push-up, squat, like body weight squats, stuff like that. It wasn't until pretty recently that I, you know, started going to the gym and then working with weights. And then when I started training with Tony, he just took it to a whole different level, because not only was it like, what we're doing using dumbbells or like, you know, a barbell or, you know, something like that. We were using these like big resistant bands that go around your body, something I've never seen before, you know, doing different exercises with the TRX bands and, you know, just so many intricate, you know, equipment, honestly, you know, that I've never even thought of doing before. So it definitely changed my perspective on, you know, strength and conditioning and how it could help me. And it kind of seems like it's becoming a common trend. I see a lot of kids now, they're starting to really take their strength and conditioning in the sport seriously. Mm-hmm. Like what I was saying before, like when I was, you know, 10, 11, 12, I wasn't, you know, in the gym, but now these 12-year-olds are in the gym. Oh yeah. Doing agility work and, you know, lifting weights. So it's cool to see like just the sport kind of, you know, transforming, and the stuff that I went for school is just so practical and useful. So that's good.
Yeah. And the stronger you are, you know, the better you're going to be. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. I mean, you could overtrain. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, the band work you're talking about, it's very like if you go to my gym, that's right down in my house. I have hooks basically everywhere in the gym with weights and a rack and all kinds of stuff. And basically that's for band work. And it's a lot, that actually kind of came about. It's really interesting. That started with Olympic lifting, because Olympic lifters need ways to kind of learn how to keep the weight close to their body, learn how to work it the right way. So, Tony might have you do stuff with a bar and have bands attached to it.
Right. Yeah. We've done that before.
Yeah. And basically keep the bar close to you. It keeps your body in the right position so that when you don't have that band there, your body still stays in the right position. Right. That's how it's supposed to work. Because if you think about, and part of my background is Olympic lifting. And, as you get into that, Olympic lifting is just gymnastics with weight. That's all it is. Because your body is, it's not as much about how strong you are as it is how well you can move and move the weight, right? So how quick can you get under it? How quick can you push it back up? And how can you stay in the right form? Because without the form, you could be a very strong person and not be able to lift something that someone that's much less stronger much less strong as you, able to lift, because you're basically just you're moving better, you're more efficient. And efficiency is something you definitely have, Sammy. I mean, it's definitely a pleasure and an interesting thing watching. When's the next competition? What's coming next for you?
Well, I'm most likely going to one next month. But there's this one at the end of the year. It's in October. It's called the Diamond Nationals. That's actually where the diamond rings came from.
You won that a bunch of times, right?
I'm a 7-time diamond ring winner. But the cool part about this one is no pressure at all for me, but the record amount of diamond rings is 8. And so if I win 1 grand championship, I'll tie the record. If I win 2, I can make the record. So that's what I'm trying to do this year. No pressure on me, but
none whatsoever. Just be the best ever.
Yeah. I don't know exactly who's above me in that, but I'm like number 2. Like there's only like 1 or 2 people that have like 8 total. I have 7 total.
Okay.
So I'm like right there.
You're right with them. So are they competing this year?
No, they're retired.
Oh, okay. All right. So at least, because I was going to say, if they're there with the same idea, you got a problem.
No,
you might have a problem. But no, that's awesome. That's great. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Is there anything else you want to promote? Anything out there? Where can people find you?
Yeah. Okay. So my Instagram is queen_of_Chuck. So Queen of Chucks on Instagram. Okay. And I'm on Facebook, Sammy Smith. My website is samanthasmith.org. And like I said, you can find the Sport Karate University on the Black Belt Mag website. It's just under one of their products if you want to check that out. But I have a link in my bio on Instagram that will take you right there. And if there's any people interested in learning nunchucks, I also offer private lessons through Zoom or Skype, or also in-person seminars or lessons, depending on, where in the country you are. But
they'd have to fly in somewhere, maybe.
Right. I'll do that. That's fine with me.
I've looked at your resume. You've already been all over the world. So where else could you go? Right. So
exactly. Russia, Spain.
Yeah. I mean, you've been a lot of places, which is awesome. So nunchucks, people want to learn that. Anything else?
Stay motivated, keep training. If I'm going to leave people with one line, is just to stay motivated and keep training. And, when things are hard, that's when you need to push through, because if you just give up, that's where you're going to end right there. You'll never know like how far you can take it.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, absolutely. Incredibly inspirational. I'm inspired. I might join and try to learn some nunchucks, but I'll probably knock myself out.
I also sell my own signature nunchucks, which you could purchase on my website or direct message me on Instagram if you're interested in them. They're 3-link, just Sport Karate nunchucks, Sammy Smith signature chucks.
Yeah, I will knock myself out with them. I guarantee it. So
I've hit myself plenty of times.
I'm sure. Have you? That I should have asked you that. Like, how many times have you hit yourself hard with them things? Probably
more than I can even remember.
Oh man. But anyway, it has been awesome having you on. I hope you enjoyed it. Loved having you on. It's definitely, I'm going to keep watching. Guys, if you want to check something cool out, check Sammy out. She is just incredible to watch, a lot of fun to watch, and definitely go follow her on Instagram, Insta page, Insta Facebook, whatever you got. I don't know, all the socials. follow Sammy on that, and check out her website. Check out the karate school. Definitely a cool person and inspiring. And, you know, I'm going to keep watching. So thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all the kind words. And it was awesome to talk to you.
It's awesome having you on. Love it. Maybe one day I'll be down there at the law. I'll say hello if you're in the gym.
Do it for sure. Right. I like practically live there now.
Teach me some nunchucks and I could break my head. But anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You got it. Be good.
Bye.